Folks, there is a very mysterious connection between Meghan Markle and Misan. All right? And this goes way deeper than you can imagine. So buckle in, because this one's going to be good.
Once upon a time, I thought I was so smart, but now my life is falling apart. There's nothing I can do, a total eclipse of my hair part. Oh yeah. A total eclipse of my hair part. It's bad. Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, everybody? Folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the show. Who loves you, baby? Listen, you're not going to believe some of the things that I found. Some of the bizarre connections that I found between, I had a first class ticket. Oh my God, my son, shut up about that stupid ticket. Listen, you are not going to believe this. All right? First of all, before I get into any of this, please, who loves you, baby? Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Also, if you haven't checked out my Patreon account, you can go sign up for free. You can preview things for free. Go enjoy yourself. Let's get into this. All right, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So check this out, folks. So Meghan did her show on the 4th, and I happened to see this video pop up on X, and I was like, whatever. You know, they're traipsing Misan out because he knows Meghan or something. Who knows? I didn't even bother with it. I even said in the video, I'm like, oh, Misan's back. You know, he's like, I have a first class ticket. Didn't really think about it. Then the story broke last week about the stupid charity. And I said, well, wait a minute. That's kind of, now that makes a little more sense because they have this numbnuts out. I'm like, okay. So Meghan's show comes out the 4th. Dr. Sophie files her thing on the 5th. Unbeknownst to everybody, nobody would have known, but H opened his big stupid mouth last week. But Dr. Sophie says, according to her, that H wrote some sort of email or something, or asked her to say some public statement about the weird interaction with Meghan. So I'm thinking in my head, let's listen to what this numbnut says. Now, the other thing is this. I could sit here and make fun of this guy this entire video, or I could let you hear the key things I want you to hear. So, I have a first class ticket. Listen, I'm going to try to refrain and just let you guys hear this because I really want to get you this info and where this is really coming from. But here's the thing. He doesn't care about Harry at all. He cares about Meghan. And you have to watch what people do, not what they say. Watch his face when he's talking, okay? And by the way, this is also a guy that is a major, everything is race with this guy. Everything is race, okay? And I'm going to tell you some real interesting details about him in a few seconds. But let me show you this, okay? Even this shirt, you know what I mean? If this was reverse the roles and this was a white dude and this, you know what I mean, saying different things here, you know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go.
Industrial and very hate machine that I've experienced myself due to my proximity to both.
So he's talking about a hate machine and laughing. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to watch what people do, not what they say, okay? Because that's not funny, but he's laughing at it. So clearly it's funny to him. See what I'm saying? Or it's all bullshit.
Harry and Meghan has been and what I would say, one day, her children will be adults and it'll be impossible to protect them, right? From the ledger. And it is a ledger.
So, okay, with sparing you this whole entire moronic thing, you can watch it on your own if you'd like. He is so absolutely bananas in this, thinking that there's some type of ledger, and when these kids get older, they're going to be read some scroll of every word that was written down about their... I mean, it's ridiculous. Anybody that's in the public arena is going to have issues. Then...
Of hate that mainly the British has been. And what I mean by that is last time I checked, being part of a system that they were just like, well, I was doing what my editor told and not caring. I do wonder how.
I mean, when you say you've experienced it, what do you mean?
Because I've had people send me DMs saying unspeakable.
Okay, so that's my point. That's his big trouble. People have sent me DMs. You're a public figure. You're sitting on there wearing that shirt. You are clearly a race baiter individual. That's his brand. That's on brand for him. And he's getting some nasty DMs. That's his big situation in life, okay? Now, let me show you this. Now, this is what I find extremely interesting right here. Misan's background and family connection. He was born in Nigeria to a prominent, wealthy family with deep ties to Nigerian business and politics. His father, Chief Hope Harriman, was significant in Nigeria's Delta State, known as a businessman, politician, and philanthropist, often described as one of the founding fathers of modern Nigeria. Hope Harriman was involved in real estate, oil, and gas, and was a Cambridge-educated chartered surveyor. The Harriman family also has a controversial historical connection to the slave trade. What's her face? Sunny Hostin? Ringing a bell to anybody?
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. The one that race baits the most, her relatives were tied to the slave trade. She's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. As Misan's grandmother's lineage from the Niger Delta slave coast was involved in trading slaves before shifting to palm oil, a detail that has drawn scrutiny given Misan's later activism with BLM. Okay? Now, Meghan Markle always talks about how charity she is and all of the stuff she did when she was younger and she bangs on that drum all the time. Well, guess what? Guess what, folks? You're going to find this interesting. There's no verifiable proof other than her own accounts. There's no proof that she did any charity work prior to 2014. Guess, let me read this to you. In short, before 2014, there's no verifiable charity work with contemporary witness or documented proof in the public record for Meghan Markle. Her accounts from the 1990s are compelling and align with her later activism, but they remain largely self-reported without the independent corroboration seen in the 2014 and onward engagements. Meghan Markle and Misan's meeting. Meghan Markle likely met Misan around 2014, and this is the earliest documented intersection of their paths when Harriman helped secure her a speaking slot at One Young World Conference in Dublin, where she addressed gender equality. Harriman later claimed in a 2022 Vogue interview that he introduced Meghan to a mutual friend who set her up with the Prince Harry in 2016, suggesting they had a prior relationship. While British Vogue notes they met long ago at a charity event, no specific earlier date is confirmed, and their professional collaboration became more visible after 2014. Now, listen to this, okay? This is where it's going to get real juicy real quick. So think about this, okay? Let me set this up for you. Let me just read this to you, okay? So, okay, let me go back. Let me rewind. The BBC interview. How did you two meet? Oh, well, we met by a person who set us up. She was a sweet person, set us up, but we should keep their name private, okay? That's the story, right? So, Misan Harriman likely knows Baron Pierce von Westenholz, who's Violet's dad, through overlapping social and professional circles in London, particularly those tied to charity events, high society, and mutual connections in the media and business world. Harriman, who has transitioned from a career in finance as a headhunter, okay, in the city of London to photography in 2016. So when he met Meghan, he wasn't a photographer. Hell, he didn't even get a camera until 2016 from the story from his white wife who gave him one, who bought him one for his birthday, his 40th birthday. He was a headhunter. Now, let me ask you this. So he runs in all these circles, and I'm going to get to it in a second, but just put a pin in this. So he meets Meg. How? Why? For what? Nobody knows. But he sees her as somebody, I don't know, maybe she could fill a role. However, she doesn't have the qualification. She doesn't have a service in her life. She doesn't have acts of service, charitable service. So what does he do? He hooks her up with the first legitimate charity. See where this is going? And he's a headhunter. That means he finds people who are right for certain jobs or positions. That's what he did, okay? By the way, he's educated in good schools in England. Okay, that's where Misan went to school. So he's all tied up in this. Now listen to this. So in 2016, he was a headhunter in the city of London to photography in 2016, had already established a media company called What We See by 2014, which positioned him in London's creative and entrepreneurial scene. His friendship with Boris Becker starting around 2013 further expanded his network as Becker introduced him to influential figures in the capital. Baron Pierce von Westenholz, a former Olympic skier turned interior designer and antiques dealer, has long been a fixture in the British high society, known for his close friendship with King Charles III and his work on royal projects like Dumfries House. The Baron's daughter, Violet von Westenholz, worked for PR for Ralph Lauren and is widely believed to have introduced Meghan Markle to Prince Harry in 2016, a connection Harriman indirectly facilitated by helping Meghan secure a speaking slot at 2014 One World Summit in Dublin. Harriman's role in Meghan's early UK engagements is presence at her 2018 wedding to Harry, where Violet and her father were also likely present given their ties to the royal family, suggests a social sphere. Additionally, Harriman's involvement in charities such as those as One Young World and his later work with high-profile figures like Meghan and Harry have brought him into the same orbit as the Baron, who has a history of attending similar social society and charity functions. Their connection, while not explicitly documented, is a natural byproduct of London's interconnected elite networks. Okay? Now think of this. So they met in 2014, and Misan is a budding photographer. Okay? He's a budding photographer. Doesn't have a photographer. He doesn't have his camera yet, but he's into photography. Okay? Gets his first camera in 2016. As a matter of fact, he went and photographed them in 2022 when there's those photos of Misan's white wife standing next to Meghan, and supposedly they had their children together and all that jazz, and he took the photos of them, by the tree and all that jazz. There is not one photo of Meghan and Misan together other than the one time that she interviewed him about that stupid 10-minute movie he did where the guy sits in the car and he's like losing his mind for whatever, 15 minutes or something. That's the only photo. And it doesn't even have them together. It has her sitting in a director's chair looking at it. Don't you find that odd that two people that go back to 2014, that's 10 years now. He's a headhunter. She's looking to get into whatever, social climb. Maybe they need to fill a role, but she just doesn't have any, she doesn't have the right, credentials. She doesn't have any charity work. She doesn't have any acts of service. So he gets her the first job. Don't you find that odd? And yet he's so super uber defensive of her. Don't you find that quite coincidental? I thought they meant because he was a photographer. I didn't know this. Interesting, isn't it? And he's quick to defend her, right? What would you say about that? You think he's her handler? Do you think he's the one that created this? Do you think he's the one that somehow is benefiting from this? What are your thoughts? What does this make you think about? Does this make you think like, wow, was this set up? Was this manufactured? Was she molded? Was she molded into something? Was there a reason? What's the agenda? Or was there nothing? I would love to know where your mind goes with this. Out of the blue, she comes. All the charity stuff that she did right before H. She meets H. Think about it. Misan doesn't know H. So you see what I'm saying? Misan's pushing Meghan on Harry. Misan don't know Meghan until 2014, and Misan don't know Harry. So it's not like, hey, I got a great, I got a lady I'd love to hook you up with. I got some lady with huge feet you'd love to meet. You know what I mean? She has a first class ticket, and I do too. I mean, please. And speaking of effeminate men, every one of them. Every flipping one of them. That guy's married, for crying out loud. But I had a first class ticket. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. I want to see where you guys go. Who loves you, baby? Please comment, like, subscribe, share. Get this out. Love to hear what some theories are. See what's really going. Who loves you, baby?
My shit, so if you don't mind, I would like to be alone so I can deal with my shit.
I applauded that.
Who loves you, baby? You're beautiful.